All right, what's good, everybody? So we're about to get into some Midheaven talk. So Midheaven is the career house and placement in the 10th house for everyone who is in existence. Everyone has a Midheaven. It's the 10th house, naturally ruled by Capricorn. So believe that there's going to be some type of structure, some type of planning, some type of organization, and some type of discipline there for it to activate optimally. All right, or to operate optimally. So, this stems from a comment from Little Meditations. So, peace be unto you as well. Also, thanks for the prayers. Prayers up to you as well. Now, to my understanding, and we're going to get to how you have Taurus in the 11th house and stuff like that with the sun and the moon there. I'm going to give you some tips on that too. So basically, Little Meditations wants to know if I have any advice, any tips or pointers that I can give on the whole, Midheaven thing. And if y'all want to look into the comment section of, what video was that? So, lesson on Pisces Midheaven, I believe that is, right? Y'all can go check that out. So, all right, where do we begin? I want to begin by saying this. Let's begin with the combination, all right? When it comes to activating your Midheaven, you got to look at the combination of specific houses. And those houses are the 1st, the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th angular houses. All right, these are prominent points into activating the 10th house, which is the last point, and it should go in that order too. I'm gonna keep it official with you. It should go in that order too. I've tried to look at it to like say, oh, can you play? No, you can't really play around with the order. I'm gonna tell you why. It just makes sense when you know the logistics of astrology. It makes sense. So the first house is pretty much the ascendant, right? The way you perceive things to be. So the whole rest of your natal chart is filtered through your ascendant. All right? It's like I would say to look at the ascendant like this. Looking down at your soul from this all-seeing place and just saying, okay, what do I have to do to make that thing, which is your soul, be the greatest, best thing that it already is, but bring it into fruition? How do I do that, right? So that's what really the ascendant is, my perspective. It's the assistant of the soul. It's the protector of the soul. It's, in a lot of instances, the guidance, the GPS of the soul as well. Soul is prominent. We're going to get to that, though. Others will argue and say the ascendant is the most important thing on the board. It definitely has large importance, but your soul is the sole purpose of being here. Let's not forget that. My perspective. You could research it on your own. You don't gotta take my word for it, but just check it out. Try it out yourself. Ask yourself. So okay, boom. We start there because this is how you perceive life to be. So you already know you're a Taurus. You brought that up. You made that known, right? And you say, okay, well, all of this, I got strong Taurus. Where's all the money? Where's all the possessions? Where's all of the materialistic attitude? I'm more of a migrator. I go here, I roam there, I do this, I do that. I'm involved in all these types of different things, which probably goes along the lines of having Taurus in the 11th house, because the 11th house is groups, networks, and friends and associations and stuff like that, right? So that could be a large reason of why you mention that in the same sentence, pretty much, right? But the first house, your ascendant, is what's actually letting you understand that stuff right now. So your ascendant is Cancer. North Node is in Cancer right now too. So you're probably coming into full realization of what's going on with yourself, because you're feeling this homey type feeling. You're feeling, but not only that, you also are feeling some type of way that you're going to burst into something or burst out of something. See, your angular points are with leadership qualities in each one. So to my understanding, if I'm correct, ascendant being in Cancer, that means your 4th house is in Libra, that means your 7th house is in Capricorn, that means your 10th house is in Aries, your Midheaven is in Aries, if I'm correct, right? So, and if I'm off, I'm off, you know what I mean? But for all cross watchers that are watching this as well, just take notes to maybe yours is a succeeding house, or maybe yours is a cadence house. It's the same thing though. The 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th house all activate together as a combination. It's a combination. I don't want to put emphasis on the other ones because it'll throw you off. Let's stick to the script. First, fourth, seventh, and tenth. So now let's look at it in order. If you got the perceiver of life, right? The perceiver of your soul, your mission, your purpose, or whatever, in the first house, that's where you begin. And to have it there as a Cancer, you will want to look at how to begin things, but from a standpoint of how you feel about it, right? It's more about how you feel about what you're experiencing more than it has to do with some type of airy logic or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to the next point, it comes to your home. So when you look at this, for you specifically, it starts to make sense already, right? Because you're a Cancer ascendant, and then the next angular point is the house that rules over Cancer, which is the fourth house, which talks about home. Now, the fourth house is relative to home, domestic life, whether that be with a family member, family members, domesticated life. So even if it's his and her type situation going on, this is also the waning years of your life, or the second half of your life, or the second part of your life, however many years you choose to live. It's like the retirement years. All right, so where you want to save up your nest egg and stuff like that. Fourth house is also about the results of things that you put into action, especially things that are concerning the first, second, and third house. So this is how you can play around with just these 2 points alone in that order to see, oh, okay, well, the results came into the fourth house, right? So it's like you can look at your fourth house also kind of like a savings account as well. Because what do you do when you go out singular, right? You see things, you see life the way it is, you perceive it to be, and then you go out and you go take care of home, wherever your home is. Now you can pertain this to your body if you're young and watching, and you still live with your parents and stuff like that. You can say, okay, home is the body, home is the temple. So you look at it like that, right? And even if you chipping around the house and stuff like that, okay, well, what do I bring to the table when I come home? Maybe you work a job and you help mom, or you help your parents with the bills and stuff like that. That's working from the first house to the fourth house. All right. So what you have in Libra there in the fourth house, it means, okay, you have some type of relationship in the home where you want to be fair. You know what I'm saying? You want to balance things out. So you would actually want to contribute in the household should it come down to that. And if you do share a household with people, you actually want to be recognized for those efforts that you do as well. That's a Libra thing. All right, so you correlate the sign characteristics with Libra with the fourth house attributes, which I described: domestic life, home life, waning years, retirement, and stuff like that. And you make that connection. But this is how you go about life, right? So every time you go out the door on each day, you can practice this and say, okay, well, I gotta at least make sure home is taken care of no matter what, right? So what you do is you learn this consistency level of taking care of home. And when you leave the house, right, when you think about it, you leave the house and then you go to the next angular point, which is the seventh house. This is when you go out into public a lot of the times, or what you're going to be recognized for in public. This is also going to be where your adversaries are looking at you. They say, well, I don't like her, I don't like him, I don't like how they roll. Whatever it is, they just may want to pick at you, or, pick you apart, pluck your flower petals off, and, toy with you in the public eye and stuff like that. Be prepared for this type of stuff. However, it's also the same thing that gets you recognition. So you know how some people say bad press is still good press. So when you start looking at like this angular point has to happen no matter what, and this is what's going to get you to the next step, which is the career. You start saying, okay, this is all right, I can do this, I can stomach this, because this is going to happen. It's inevitable anyway. It's inevitable because your career, when you're talking about Midheaven, is something that you're going to be recognized for, something that you're going to be noted for, right? It's something, this is where your prestige comes from. So it's inevitable. If not, you don't want to activate your career. You don't want to activate your career. You know what I mean? And for some, that's okay. Some people got Pisces Midheaven. I think that's what the video that this came on. Some people got Pisces Midheaven. Sometimes it's not the greatest place to want to just be out there. You know what I'm saying? It's this mystical type of shadowy place, and you're just like, I don't really need the fame. It's dissolving. It's Neptune-y, right? I don't really need it. You know what I mean? But still, all in all, that person is going to have a Midheaven that gets activated. And don't get me wrong, some people don't get it activated, and the reason being, if you was to ask me, right, I would say it's because of climate, of environment, where you are in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is probably another video, of course, but sometimes fame is being seen as recognition as well, right? Because you can have a career and not be famous, and that's fine. But depending on where you're located geographically, like if you're in the States, to the majority, to the masses that's looking, that doesn't even count as a career. Yo, I'm serious, and it's sad. To me, it's sad that people actually think that way. Oh, for real, what do you do? Oh, I never heard of you. You're a doctor. Like, are you supposed to hear of a doctor? Everybody's not Oz. Everybody doesn't have that TV show. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not Dr. Oz, oh, keep banging. Nobody ever, we don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a career. You got a job. So it's very weird based upon those types of things, right? So keep that in mind as well. And trust me when I tell you, some people notice and they do not care to be famous. They're recognized, even if 5 people know what they do for a living, they're fine with that. You know, they have their career, they go home and they sleep well, and they don't care about the whole fame aspect, whatever the case may be. But different strokes for different folks, right? So that's how it happens. You'll notice, so let's talk about the last 2 angles, or the last angle before the Midheaven, to put more emphasis on how the transition takes place. The relationships that you make, 7th house is about relationships. Business relationships. People like to say romantic relationships as well. I don't like to say romantic relationships. I relate that to the 5th house. 7th house relationships, if you want to take your significant other there, that's marriage. That's a business contract that says, okay, look, we're riding this out together based upon X, Y, and Z, and if we split apart, 50% go to you, 50, or whatever, you know, the house ticket. That's what that's about, you know, but let somebody else tell it. But really, I want you to concentrate on business relationships, business partnerships when you get to the 7th house. Because how you handle those are going to determine how the 10th house thing gets activated. You understand what I'm talking about? And it doesn't mean that you have to have 1 relationship, 10 relationships, 100 relationships. Don't look at the volume of how many of those types of relationships you have. Just look to see if you have any, okay? Any is good, all right? No one goes alone. You can do a lot on your own. You can accomplish a lot on your own, and I encourage you to do that, because the more you bring to the table, the more someone else is going to want to work with you. It's just inevitable. It's just like, for people who want to do business. You understand? 7,000 people want to do business is going to benefit you the more that you know, the more places that you've been, that you've spoken about, the more, you know, all of the experiences that you've been through, even the ones that gave you cuts and bruises. And despite not having the riches and the wealth and the material, that doesn't matter when it comes to the things that you're bringing to the table when it comes to business. You're going to be known for what you do, what you are capable of, your capability, all right? So that's what that 7th house is there for, and then it transitions into the 10th. They're going to say, okay, now look, again, leadership qualities is going, this is for cross watchers too, leadership qualities are going to be in the 10th house regardless of what sign is there. You understand what I'm talking about? So even if you got Aquarius Midheaven, you're still going to have to be a leader inside of a network, because of course the network and the group is going to be emphasized because Aquarius is there. So you might say, oh damn, I ain't shit without my crew. You know what I'm saying? I ain't nothing without these people. Duh, you got Aquarius Midheaven. You know what I'm saying? However, Aquarius is also a very independent sign. So that leadership quality, 10th house is going to be leadership because it's a cardinal sign, naturally ruled by Capricorn. So there's going to be more emphasis put on your leadership capabilities there as well. So there's no escaping it, is what I'm saying. There's no escaping it. There has to be some leadership quality there in the 10th house to activate it. Now, something that I'm going to stress now that I explain the whole cycle of things, right? Just because you have a career or a midhaven does not mean that that's the place where you're going to get money. This is very important. I'm telling you right now, this is very important. Look where your Venus is. Did you tell me where your Venus is? Not 100% sure if you did. Yeah, you got Venus in Aries. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Aries is your midhaven. So we can, the email that you said that got sent, I didn't see it, you know what I mean? Or maybe I got to check my other email, maybe, okay. I might have changed my email to my corporate email. I gotta check that out. But to my understanding, if Venus is in Aries, well, you said Venus is in Aries. If Aries is your midheaven, excuse me, is what I mean to say, then you have to look at, I say, the house more than anything. The house. So right off of the bat, my advice to you is to start a corporation, an LLC, even if it's a sole proprietorship, because Aries is creative, it's creation itself. The sign represents, right? A lot of Aries are entrepreneurs. A lot of Aries are solo acts. A lot of Aries, if they're not entrepreneurs, they're into like body work or police work, or even like surgeons or nurses and stuff like that. So I would say to get in one of those types of fields that represents the Aries. I mean, but it has to be like in a corporate setting. I recommend that it be inside of a corporate setting because it's the 10th house. So like I said, although the sign is there to color it, the house is very important. This I know from experience. This is what I'm telling you from experience. Like I'm looking at my situation, right? And I'm like, how much does the sign have to do with it? I'd say this, the solo act, okay, for Aries being there, you might go it alone. Is pretty much what I'm saying. You might go it alone. Now you might put other people on in the process, but you might just be like, okay, you stay here while I go take care of business. But it's going to be in a business setting. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's in the 10th house. Now had it be somewhere else, if it was in the 9th house, you would have to deal with something more along the lines of publishing. Your Venus, this is what I'm talking about, because Venus is the money planet. No matter what your career is, if you're looking for money, this is why I'm explaining this tip to you. If you're looking for money, you can leave your career alone, because career does not mean that you're gonna get money. I'm telling you, yo, I've done so much career work and have received little to nothing from it. And I'm not even tripping. I'm not bitter about it because I know astrology. So I know that's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be prepared for that. You got to prepare yourself to that, to say, okay, this is where my midheaven is. It's in Aries. If I do X, Y, Z, let's say you're a physical trainer or whatever the case may be, don't look. You might do it on YouTube for 5-6 years, and nobody's paying you for it. You're just busting out exercise videos. You know what I'm saying? And putting it on YouTube. Don't be upset about it. I'm telling you now. But because you got Venus there, you will be paid for whatever it is you choose to do that falls along the line of the 10th house. This could be real estate. If you was getting into real estate, I bet you could earn some money from it. I'm telling you, I bet you. So right now, ignore the sign and think about the 10th house. Real estate, construction, along the same lines, but you get what I'm saying, right? Any type of corporate type of work, government, you may even be able to get in government. If you was to get in the government, you'd get paid for that. People would pay you for that. Look at all of the 10th house things. And I'm telling you, money will be there for you every time you look. As long as you're looking for it, it'll be there every time. And people might even just offer it to you out of nowhere, and you may be like, they might be friends or just regular random people in the street. You might be like, oh no, that's all right. I don't want your money. You just doing it, but you don't understand. That's your destiny. That's your calling for money. Like they want to pay you to do whatever it is that falls along the line of that 10th house. So I say that to say this. Look there, you lucked up double time because you're looking to activate Midheaven and you mentioned money. So this is a perfect opportunity because your money planning is inside of your midheaven. So think about that. So now I want to talk about Taurus being in your 11th house. And then we're going to move into the last tip that I got for you for now. And I'm going to put some links to my training channel, my research and department channel, which is Private Investigation Enterprises. That's my corporation. So, I got an R&D branch and I got a YouTube channel that supports that. So I'm almost finished with making a lot of videos to where people can get their natal reading by video pretty much. As long as you know where your placements are, you can go to that channel and you can look them up. So the ones that you gave me, I'll see if they're there already. And if they are, I'll put links in the description box so you can go there and check them out. And for those that aren't there, you could expect them to be there sooner than later. So with Taurus being in the 11th house, it's a selfish place this is a challenging place to be, because you got a selfish sign that's about self and, you know, adorning itself and stuff like that, and it's in the 11th house, which is about everybody else. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be a team player. But again, that's probably why you don't activate all of those traits that are along with Taurus. And it's probably for the best. Trust me, it's probably for the best, because if you can't get along with others, then you're going to suffer when it comes to the progress or the benefits of what you activate in your midheaven, because 11th house comes right after the 10th. So the second house from the 10th, second house is naturally the money house, is going to be the benefits or the revenue that you generate from your career. Also, 11th house is the revenue house of corporations, period. You understand what I'm talking about? So I'm talking a lot of money talk to you now. Now check this out. Because you have the sun and the moon inside of Taurus, inside of your 11th house, you can set something off as an entrepreneur. You might even be able to create up some startups in real estate, whatever those functions are in the 10th house, Capricorn type stuff. You can start these things off and sell these businesses, flip the businesses, whatever type of businesses they are, and delegate afterwards in the 11th house, become a part of your own system. So you might make a board or a panel or you know, a corporation, and you might step down as the CEO and or you might stay the CEO. This is a better explanation. Stay as a CEO and like delegate to your board of directors. Well, really the board of directors will delegate to you. So, you know, play with it. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is choose a delegating position. Because of course the CEO is going to have a lot of delegating responsibilities, because it's going to be telling the rest of the company what to do. You know what I'm saying? So you can remain in that position, or you can get on the board of directors and delegate to the CEO what is best to do. So Taurus is going to have a good money sense anyway, but it'll be better when it's including other people. So you would want to make your shareholders happy, right? So being a decision maker with the sun and the moon there is conviction there, because the sun and the moon aligned together is in sync with what they feel and what their spirit and their soul is intertwined. All right. Now that doesn't mean that you're going to be the greatest decision maker, because I've seen people who have the sun on the opposite side of their moon become great decision makers because they're in conflict with their soul and their spirit. Like, always contemplating, and that time that's utilized to contemplate makes them come up with some decisions that other people cannot ever come up with, because they're so used to feeling in the comfort zone or confident. You heard of overconfidence, right? Be careful of that with having the sun and the moon intertwined together. You could be overconfident and you'll miss something. So you can toy around with that. I wouldn't say gamble with it, but you can toy around with that and see how that works, right? And lastly, I want to say something. I don't know how many people are hip to this, but your solar return is going to have a whole lot to do with your midheaven. Let me tell you why. Solar returns are very important, y'all. So y'all should be getting your solar return readings. And for all of y'all about to celebrate the new year, I just want to drop this to everybody's watch. Everybody about to celebrate the new year, and you got your New Year's resolutions ready for January 1st when the ball drops. A lot of y'all are going to be disappointed again, because y'all are calculating the new year ball dropping as your new year, when in all actuality, that's not your new year. Your new year begins the day you were born, your solar return. So and I'm gonna explain to you, right? For those of you who have made New Year resolutions and shit, right? And let's say you're going to the gym, lose weight or bulk up, whatever the fuck, and it's 3 months done passed and you're in March and you still haven't done it yet, and you're like, damn, you might make your posts or tell your friends and shit, like, damn, you know, I made the resolution and I still ain't go there yet. And then all of a sudden April hit and you in the fucking gym and you're a Taurus. Go figure. Because now it's like, oh, okay, my solar return hit. That's your new year. So now you feel more confident, right? Whenever your birthday come around, it's like, it's my birthday, what? I'm about to turn up, whatever the fuck, right? So now you're in the gym, you're like, oh, I had to wait 4 months. Nah, it's your solar return. That's your new year. That's what you should be setting your resolutions for. So get your solar return readings, y'all. Get your solar return readings. I'm telling you, It can make your life so much better when you get a solar return reading, right? So check this out. This is a pattern about solar returns. Your solar return is going to leap the same way that I explained those angular houses from 1st to 4th to 7th to 10th. Your solar return leaps just like that every year, except it doesn't do it this way. It does it this way. All right? Clockwise. So, in astrology, it goes counterclockwise, right? Solar returns is going to go the opposite way, right? Clockwise. So, but what happens is this happens for a certain amount for about 10 years, I believe. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it's about 10 years. So let's say you have a solar return in your 3rd house this year, right? Next year it's going to be in your 1st house. The year after that, it's going to be in your 10th house. So you may be working on your career, and you're like, damn, what the fuck is going on with my career? This shit sucks. I'm ready to hang it up. This shit is whack. It's not happening for me, right? Or it's not happening fast enough for me. And you might quit right before that year when your sun hits the 10th house. Let me tell you something. That's when your shit is going to take off, or it's going to accumulate so much recognition at a rapid pace that you might not even be ready for. You might be like, oh shit, what the fuck? Overnight success. But it wasn't overnight. You've been working at this for a large amount of time. You understand what I'm talking about? That's why it's also very important to get a solar return. But keep this in mind as well. It doesn't always stay in the angular houses. So what I mean by that is your solar return, like for me, example, when I was born, it landed in the 6th house. That's not an angular house. So it went from 6 to 2 to 8. You understand what I'm saying? So on and so forth. I think I said that right. But you get what I'm saying, right? It wasn't 10, 3, 7, and 1. It was a cycle of other things. And remember, this goes on for 10 years. So you might begin in the succeeding house for 10 years. Then you might jump to the cadent house for another 10 years. So 20 years then pass and your career still ain't pop off. People might be laughing at you, clowning you. You might be going through mad shit. Like you said, you've been through mad shit, right? And you just be like, yo, what the fuck is up with my life and my career? And it's just like, yo, for the past 20 years, your solar return has been bouncing through cadent and succeeding houses. It hasn't even tapped the angular houses yet. But it might be this decade that's coming, that 30 and 40 years, that your soul, your sun, is going to hit those angular houses, or it might have began, and then during this decade, it's going to hit that midheaven, and then boom, you take off. And people be like, yo, what the fuck? You yourself might even be like, if you don't know this information, like, yo, overnight. She said, nah, this shit ain't overnight. You've been doing this shit for 20 years, 30 years, or at least trying to figure out what you're going to do for 20 to 30 years. And then all of a sudden you stumble along some information that sets you up with this person. Then you get into contact with that person. Y'all shake hands. Y'all make a deal here. Your sun lands in the 10,000, you off. And look how it goes. So I'm telling you the cycle, right? The sun is going to hit your 1st house first on the solar return. So it's going to be a lot on you. It's going to be a lot of pressure on you the year before it hits the midheaven. And you're going to be like, yo, where's all this pressure coming from? Because the universe wants to see how you're going to weather and how you're going to be the king, the queen, how you're going to handle that. You know what I'm saying? So don't think nobody's picking on you or the universe is bullying you. It's just sharpening you and preparing you, because if you think that's something, wait until that next year comes and you're putting that midheaven. All it was doing was sharpening you and preparing you to be in that spot of recognition and high status and prestige. All right? So check out your solar return when you can and if you can. So those are the tips I have for you now, for you and for, of course, everybody who's watching this. I hope this helps somebody out there who's looking for career path and stuff like that. Again, I'll do as much as I possibly can to get those links to you as well. And subscribe to the Pi channel. Subscribe to the Private Investigation Enterprises channel, because that's what's going to be where the training videos and stuff like that is at. I'm just getting back into the swing of things and the rhythm right now, and just like, seeing what people need immediately, which I can touch on, and don't really have to do much research about it because it's already like second nature to me. All right, y'all, I'm out.